The secondary market is hot again, so we're going to be looking at the 30 hottest cards in this special two-part episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can order Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy, pre-order Edge of Eternities, or find a vast number of other great items on their website. Remember, shipping is free in the US if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles. Just look in the description or comment section below for direct links to their site. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Final Fantasy's continued success, Standard's banning of 7 cards, Secret Lair reveals, and Edge of Eternity previews, as well as leaks, are just some of the reasons the market is so turbulent again this week. There's so much going on that we're going to look at the top 12 cold cards and the top 30 hot cards in this special two-part Market Watch. In this part, we'll see the cold cards numbered 12 through 7 and the hot cards numbered 30 through 16. As always, our lists are based on 2 pieces of criteria: the percentage change in the value of the cards, as well as the change in the number of sales from week to week. We'll quickly look at the cold cards and spend a little more time on the cards moving up in price. Quickly before we get started though, just one fast thing. I do want to say thank you to one of our silver patrons, and that is Summer Tardy. Summer, thank you for your support on Patreon. It truly goes a long way. And I know I say this all the time, but I really could not do this without viewers like yourself. So thank you, Summer. And now, without any further ado, let's get into it. Let's begin with the cold cards of the week, part 1, where we're going to be looking at numbers 12 through 7, beginning with number 12, Bottomless Pit from Stronghold. It's down $1 to $3.99. That's a 20% decrease. This has been moving up due to the play it's been seeing in Modern Pit Rack. It slides down some this week though. Moving up 4 spots this week to number 11, Chronotog. This is down $1.10 to $4.99. That's a 15% decrease. This reserve list card spiked a few weeks ago, and at that time I said that it looked like a reserve list buyout. While copies have been returning to the marketplace and the price continues to slide. Number 10 is Goblin Settler from Starter 1999. It's down $1.10 to $8.40. That's a 12% decrease. This was recently reprinted in a Future Sight frame as part of the Mystery Booster 2 set. Number 9, Neath of the Dire Hunt, down $1.14 to $7.29. That's a 14% decrease. This saw a bump in play in the Wolverine Best There Is Commander decks, but now it's sliding down. Number 8 is Tortured Existence. The Stronghold copy goes down $1.20 to $8.80. That's a 12% decrease. The one from the list is down $1.28 to $8.33. That's a 13% decrease. This jumped in price a few months back when players were getting its upgrade, the Ether Drift Eternal Might Commander deck, but now the market is moving on. And number 7 is Glistening Sphere. This is down $1.60 to $10.79. That's a 13% decrease. This is from the Phyrexia All Will Be One Corrupting Influence Commander deck. Alright, let's jump into the 30 hottest cards of the week. In part 1, we're going to see numbers 30 through 16. So let's begin with number 30, Sid Free Flyer Pilot. This is up $1.07 to $4.02. That's a 36% increase. This is from the Final Fantasy Limit Break Commander deck. It's already seeing a lot of Commander play in builds old and new. You see it in decks around a few cards from its precon, Cloud X Soldier, Sephiroth Fallen Hero, and Tifa Martial Artist. Plus it's in builds around Cloud Midgar Mercenary and Lightning Army of One from the main set. Not to mention it's appearing in 1v1 dual Commander decks around Cloud Midgar Mercenary as well. But wait, there's even more to this story. We recently saw the reveal of the Secret Lair Cross Sonic cards. It's actually a super drop with a few different secret layers. One of them is called Friends and Foes, and it contains a card called Amy Rose. If you're playing Amy Rose, you might certainly want Sid Free Flyer Pilot in your Commander build. And beyond that, remember the Commander rules change that is coming with Edge of Eternities. You will be able to use legendary vehicles as your Commander, which makes this card that much better. Coming in at number 29 is Kark Clan Shaman, up $1.15 to $4.99. That's a 30% increase. This one per wonder is a big pauper card. You see it in highly played decks there, like Jund Wildfire, Grixis Affinity, and Tron. Since it survived the latest banned and restricted list update, it ticks up some this week. 1 week ago, this was number 30. Last week it jumped to number 23. This week it moves down 5 spots to number 28. Sister Hospitler, up $1.44 to $9.80. That's a 17% increase. This is from the Warhammer 40k Forces of the Imperium Commander deck. It has been seeing a little Commander play and builds around Marnius Kelgar and Inquisitor Greyfax from its precon, for example. Now, however, some players want a copy of it to upgrade the Final Fantasy Revival Trance Commander deck, while others want this for fresh builds around the front-facing commander from there, Terra Herald of Hope, which is why it's been moving up. Moving up one spot this week to number 27, Bureau Headmaster, up $1.48 to $4.98, that's a 42% increase. This is from the Assassin's Creed Starter Kit. It was appearing in some commander builds, like the ones around Captain America First Avenger and Isshin 2 Heavens is One, for example. Now though, cards like this are seeing more play thanks to the equipment support that came out of Final Fantasy, leading to some price increases. Many players have been getting this to upgrade the Final Fantasy Limit Break deck, while others are putting it in fresh builds around a couple cards from there, the front-facing commander Cloud X Soldier, as well as Sephiroth Fallen Hero. Additionally, Bureau Headmaster is appearing in commander decks around two other new cards, Lightning Army of One from the Final Fantasy main set, and Cloud Planet's Champion from the Starter Kit. Plus, Bureau Headmaster will play well with Amy Rose from the Sonic Friends and Foes Secret Lair. Number 26 is Surly Badgersaur. This is up $1.72 to $7.99, that's a 42% increase. This is from the Commander 2020 Timeless Wisdom deck. It had been getting a little commander play in decks like Clubs the Fool, or Esmeralda Martica Diced into Kuldakar, for example. However, now Final Fantasy is pushing the price of this card. It's in commander builds around Clive Ifrit's Dominant / Ifrit Warden of Inferno, and to a lesser extent around Kefka Court Mage / Kefka Ruler of Ruin. Additionally, I've seen some players getting Surly Badgersaur to upgrade the Revival Trance Commander deck, while others have been putting it in fresh builds around Celis Rune Knight and Mog Moogle Warrior from there. There is one more factor at play here though. Edge of Eternity's previews have begun, and there's some speculation that Surly Badgersaur may play well in the upcoming World Shaper Commander deck around Zariel Genesis Shepherd, although there's always the possibility that it gets reprinted there. Quickly before we get to number 25, just a fast reminder, this video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can order Final Fantasy products there, pre-order Edge of Eternities, or find any number of other great items on their website, Magic related or otherwise. Remember, for orders over $100 or consist only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. And if you're looking for a direct link to their site, just check out the description or the comment section below. I do have links posted in both of those places. And now, without any further ado, let's move on with the countdown. A week ago, this was number 26. Last week, it climbed to number 18, but this week, it falls 7 spots to number 25. Gleeful Arsonist, up $1.87 to $7.78. That's a 36% increase. This is from the Dustborn Endless Punishment Commander deck. It was seeing Commander play in a few builds, like the ones around Valgavoth Harrower of Souls from its precon, and Oyer Axonil Deepest Might, for example, but now Gleeful Arsonist is seeing quite a bit more play thanks to Final Fantasy. Partially, some players just want this to play against Vivi Ornithir in the format, but Gleeful Arsonist is good in builds around a few cards from Final Fantasy's main set, including Kuja Geom Sorcerer / Trans Kuja Fate Defied, Black Waltz number 3, and Kefka Court Mage / Kefka Ruler of Ruin. Number 24 is Primaris Eliminator, up $1.98 to $6.98. That's a 40% increase. This is another card from the Warhammer 40k Forces of the Imperium Commander deck. It has been seeing a little commander play in builds like Marnius Kelgar and Inquisitor Greyfax from its precon, for example. Now though, there is more demand on this already scarce and hard to find reprint because of Final Fantasy. There are some players getting it to upgrade the Revival Trance Commander deck, while others are putting it in fresh builds around Terra Herald of Hope from there. Primaris Eliminator can provide some repeatable value with Terra. Number 23, Taval's Judgment, up $2.18 to $9.62. That's a 29% increase. This is from the Tarkir Dragonstorm Sultai Arisen Commander deck, and it does see play in commander builds around Taval the Balanced Scale from there, as well as Taval Arbiter of Virtue from the main set. Now though, like so many other cards, Taval's Judgment is seeing more play in the format thanks to Final Fantasy, and that has made the price jump. Some players are getting it to upgrade the Revival Trance deck, while others are putting it in fresh builds around Terra Herald of Hope and Celis Rune Knight from there. Taval's Judgment is also appearing in several decks around cards from the Final Fantasy main sets like Squall Seed Mercenary, Vanille Cheerful Lassie, Sin Spirit's Punishment, and Noctis Prince of Lucis. Number 22, Wave Goodbye, up $2.31 to $7.86. That's a 42% increase. This is from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Explorers of the Deep Commander deck. It was in a few commander builds like Hackball of the Surging Soul from its precon, and Me the Immortal, for example. Now though, the demand for this card and the price are both going up, partially because of Final Fantasy. Players are getting Wave Goodbye to upgrade the Counter Blitz deck, while others are putting in fresh builds around the front-facing commander, Tidus Yuna's Guardian, and Yuna Grand Summoner from there. Wave Goodbye is also appearing in commander decks around the Emperor Palamecia / the Lord Master of Hell from the main set. However, Final Fantasy can't take all the blame this time. A card from the Sonic Friends and Foes Secret Lair is pushing the price of Wave Goodbye too. Players are planning on adding it to commander builds around Sonic the Hedgehog. That's a sentence I never thought I would say, but here we are. We have one more factor to mention here as well. There's some speculation that Wave Goodbye may be a good upgrade to the upcoming Edge of Eternity's Counterintelligence commander deck. Here's the front-facing commander that has sparked the speculation, Kilo Apogee Mind. But as I said earlier, we don't know what's going to be reprinted in these decks, so it is a risky spec. A week ago, this was number 25. Last week it jumped up to number 8, but this week it falls 13 spots to number 21. Jeweled Amulets up 244 to 1599, that's an 18% increase. Here's an old one-print wonder that has become hard to find in high grade. Back when Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus were banned in Commander, players were looking for replacement cards, and some landed on this. It's been appearing within decks in both 1v1 Duel and regular Commander. In Duel Commander, you've seen it in builds around Flubs the Fool, for example. And in regular Commander, it's been appearing in decks around Urzalor High Artificer and Fibblethip Lost on the Range, among others. Now, however, it's also showing up in builds around cards from Final Fantasy, which is why it's creeping up in price. In Duel Commander, this is in decks around Vivi Ornithir and the Wandering Minstrel. And in regular Commander, it's in Vivi as well. Coming in at number 20 is Ripples of Potential of 248 to 1398. That's a 22% increase. This is another card from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Explorers of the Deep Commander deck. It had been seeing a good amount of Commander play and builds around Hackball of the Surging Soul from its pre-con, and Atraxa Praetor's Voice, for example. However, there are quite a few Final Fantasy cards that utilize counters, and that's part of the reason it's climbing. First off, sometimes you see Ripples of Potential in Tom Bombadil decks, and the new Saga creatures from Final Fantasy are pushing those. Secondly, many players are getting this to upgrade the Counter Blitz commander deck, while others are adding it to new builds around a couple cards from there, Tidus Yuna's Guardian and Yuna Grand Summoner. Plus, Ripples of Potential is in a commander build around a card from the main set, Terra Magical Adept / Esper Terra. However, there's a little more to this story. Ripples of Potential is also appearing in deck lists around Sonic the Hedgehog. Plus, this is another card that some are thinking about picking up because of Kilo Apogee Mind and the Edge of Eternity's Counterintelligence commander deck. Coming in at number 19 is Savor the Moment from Shadowmoor, up 273 to 1788, that's an 18% increase. This has been known to see Commander play in Aloro Ageless Ascetic builds, but now a Final Fantasy card has been pushing the demand and the price of Savor the Moment. It's been seeing play in Vivi Ornithir 1v1 Duel and regular Commander builds. Number 18, Danny Pink, up 286 to 1785, that's a 19% increase. This is from the Doctor Who Paradox Power Commander deck. It has seen a little Commander play in a few decks, like the ones around Marchesa the Black Rose and Galandriel Light of Valinor, for example. You guessed it though, Final Fantasy has pushed the price of this card too. Many players are getting Danny Pink to upgrade the Counter Blitz Commander deck, while others want it for fresh builds around Tidus Yuna's Guardian and Yuna Grand Summoner from there. However, Danny Pink's price is also being pushed now by Sonic the Hedgehog. Players have begun adding Danny to Sonic Commander deck lists. Plus, this is a safer spec for the Edge of Eternity's Counterintelligence deck around Kilo Apogee Mind, since it is highly unlikely a Doctor Who character will be reprinted there. Moving up 5 spots this week to number 17, RMS Titanic, up $3.01 to $5.50, that's a 121% increase. This is from the Doctor Who Timey-Wimey Commander deck. It has been getting a little bit of Commander play in a few builds, like Colidon Triumph Castra and Magda Brazen Outlaw, for example. More recently, though, RMS Titanic has been indexed around Setzer Wandering Gambler from the Final Fantasy Revival Trance deck. However, there are two big reasons RMS Titanic is spiking this week. First off, it's showing up in deck lists around a card from the Sonic Friends and Foes Secret Lair, Dr. Eggman. And secondly, there is interest around RMS Titanic due to the upcoming Commander's rules change that will take effect with Edge of Eternities. Like I said earlier, once that set comes out, you will be able to use legendary vehicles as your commander. This change drew the attention of players and speculators towards the card. Coming in at number 16 is Abhorrent Oculus, up $323 to $20. That's a 19% increase. This card has seen play in multiple formats since its release. This week, 7 cards were banned in Standard, which most certainly will shake up the format. Some think that the Jeskai or Azorius Oculus decks may rise to prominence in the new meta. Time will tell, but this is also found in a lot of other builds in different formats. It's a huge modern card in Dimir Murktide, Esper Murktide, Jeskai Prowess, Simic Midrange, Dimir Reanimator, Sultai Midrange, Grixis Reanimator, and Sultai Murktide. Over in Legacy, this appears in Esper Vial, and of course it gets Commander play, both in 1v1 Duel and Regular Commander. In Regular Commander, this appears in Zimone Mystery Unraveler and Kadena Slinking Sorcerer builds. Meanwhile, in the 1v1 version, it had been seeing play in several decks, including Aragorn King of Gondor and Glarb Calamity's Augur. But now, Abhorrent Oculus is getting additional play there around some Final Fantasy cards like Kefka Court Mage / Kefka Ruler of Ruin, and Vivi Orniteer from the main set, as well as Lys Hexed and Grahatia Scion Reborn from the Scions and Spellcraft Commander deck. That's going to wrap up part 1 of this giant-sized episode of the Market Watch, but tomorrow we're coming back with part 2. We're going to see the top 6 cold cards and the top 15 hot cards. You don't want to miss it. Until next time, hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.